Good afternoon, and I am back to my usual tricks of not having very good light, unfortunately. But I did want to film something today. I'm here for the afternoon, and I haven't done a video for quite some time, so I thought I would just share with you all the fragrances I've been wearing lately. Just a little roundup of things I've been really enjoying. I haven't been wearing a lot of fragrance lately because I've not been feeling 100%, and obviously with the weather very hot this week at least, and I just don't feel excited about wearing fragrances in this heat. This atmosphere makes things feel really weighty, and my mood has been pretty weighty. I've got a few here that I'm going to share with you. We're just going to go straight in and start with the first one. I went to Scotland recently, to Edinburgh, only just for a few days. Edinburgh, I want to say it the right way. I don't want the Scots coming for me. It's not Edinburgh, it's not Edinburgh, as I say, it's just Edinburgh. And I only took two fragrances, well, just two little decants. Ormond Jane, Ormonde Woman, and I took a decant of Alice from Redolescent. This is the one I thought would be very Scotty-y, Scotlandy. The weather in Scotland, well, particularly Edinburgh, was fresher and cooler than it is here. And I think of Ormond Woman as a lovely transitional scent. It has that, it bridges between sort of summer and autumn. It just has that sort of vibe. And it just felt like the idyllic scent to wear in that kind of climate. I mean, obviously we're not in the Highlands here, but this is the sort of scent I think of. It's that sort of Highland, outdoorsy, fresh air, just that kind of vibe. But obviously Edinburgh is more city. It still works. It was still a great scent to choose. So Ormond Woman obviously is your spicy, woody, kind of aromatic spa-like fragrance. The more I wear this, the more I'm aware of the spices in here. Coriander and nutmeg. You've got various woody notes. You've also got some darker green elements from the hemlock. And you get a kind of grassy oil kind of feeling. It is quite an oily, aromatic scent. It has a dispersed feel, which I really enjoy. If it was too heavy and weighty, I wouldn't enjoy this so much. But there is a DNA with Ormond Jane that I do enjoy in a lot of the fragrances, which features a kind of dispersed, spa-like, aromatic nature. And what I specifically think of, for me personally with this scent, is being in a spa and you've got chrysanthemums everywhere. This is very much a chrysanthemum sort of scent. I like the scent of chrysanthemums. I love that flower. Very green, a bit spicy. I really enjoy this one. Yeah, just very green, woody, spicy, kind of zen-like. But even this sometimes can feel a little bit heavy. And it always does remind me, of course, of Cherie from the top note, because this was her signature scent for a long time, and she absolutely adores Ormond Woman. She's got a real connection to it. And she recently got married, so massive congratulations to Cherie. She did a whole video on all the fragrances that she was thinking of wearing. And actually one that she's been talking about a lot recently is Prive from Ormond Woman. I used to have Prive, and I ended up decluttering it in favour of Ormond Woman because they are very, very similar to me. And back when I sampled Ormond Woman, I favoured it over Prive, so I decluttered Prive. But Cherie's been talking about Prive recently, and it's made me want to revisit Prive. Yes, I am being influenced heavily by Cherie, but she has got a fantastic taste, and I've started thinking about Prive again, so I wanted to revisit it. And my revisitation ended up with a purchase, unfortunately. I can't help myself sometimes. And I actually ended up purchasing a little 30ml of Prive. So I've ended up in this sort of full circle and ended up owning both again. This 30ml is absolutely adorable. I bought it direct from Ormond Jane. And if you notice, but there's no label. It arrived in all the original packaging, as it should do, the bright orange outer casing packaging, but no label. So I did actually message them to say, you know, it obviously smells fantastic and it is the right fragrance. They did eventually acknowledge my Instagram message, and they just sort of said, oh yeah, you know, sometimes we run out. I can't actually remember what they said, you know that. It was very casual blasé. They didn't seem to think it was a big deal. It's not a big deal, but it's not, it's not finished. It's not got the name on the bottle. It doesn't bug me at all that there's no label on it. Their blasé approach to it kind of bugged me a little tiny bit. Anyway, but what is Prive all about? So if you took Ormond Woman and took away all the green woody elements, took away everything that fills it to become more substantial, and left it with the dispersed, airy, spicy aromaticness, very dispersed, you would have Prive. And Prive also has an additional note. I think it's basmati or just a rice note, which I do get that in here. It makes it slightly unusual. Gives it a slightly humid feel. Do you know what I mean? Like that rice steam feeling, that sort of slightly humid feel. It gives it that, but it just makes it a slightly bit more original, I guess, a bit different. But it's very easy to wear. So it's a really beautiful, tame, spicy, aromatic scent. And I feel like I really smell nutmeg in here. Like this particular scent has always reminded me of the smell you would have lingering in the air after cooking a rice pudding, at least the rice pudding that you put nutmeg in. And I really enjoy that about this. Actually, they kind of work together. Like if you want a bit more oomph from this one, spray a bit of Ormonde Woman. If you want a more dispersed feeling from Ormonde Woman, top it up with the Prive. They're definitely related. They're from the same house. Also, Ormond Man is a very similar style of these two as well. So those are two that I've been really enjoying. I'm actually going to stick with the House of Ormond Jane here, and I want to talk about Champaca. Now, I've been wearing the crap out of this, and it was a partial when I bought it. I would say a partial, I mean only about this much had been missing when I bought it. So I've worn an awful lot. It's a 120ml bottle, so I have worn an awful lot. This is all I keep picking up, really. This has been my most dumb reach for the past month. And Champaca's been around, you know, Ormond Jane in the house for ages, a long time. It's not a new scent. And I just assumed for some reason it was going to be this heavy yellow floral scent that I wasn't going to enjoy. I had this image of something that was heady, a bit animalic. I don't think I really know what Champaca is, and I don't even know what the notes are in here, so this is a great start. I have read the notes and I knew them once, but right now my brain is mush. It's too hot to think or care or do anything. This is such a clean, easy, simple little splash of a floral fragrance. So pleasantly surprised when I smelt a sample of this. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all, and I instantly thought, you know what, this is the scent I want to smell of all the time. This is so perfect for me for this hot weather. Unfussy, crystal clear quality about it, as if you've got a glass of very clear, clean but tepid water. It's not a cold scent, but it's very clear. Tepid water with tangerine peel, not orange, and not like a heavy citrus. Tangerine, which has got a slightly deeper, darker taste, hasn't it? Also got daisy flowers floating on the top. So that kind of scent you get from multi-petaled little flowers, so little daisy type heads. You've got lots of little very thin petals. That's what I think of with this. It's just so simple and lovely. As it dries down, it gets slightly more musky. There's a slight fluffy nature to it. It's just beautiful. It's an unexpected love. I never thought I'd love Champaca, but there you go. It's a perfect second skin for me in these hotter months. It's sort of like citrusy but not quite. It's floral but not quite. It's musky but not quite. It's just this beautiful middle ground. I absolutely love it. So that is what I've been wearing so much, and I'm enjoying it so much. Because it's been so hot and because I've been wearing less scents, I've sort of paid more attention to the ones that I've been enjoying and wearing, and I'm actually, you know, selecting amongst the others. And I've realised that the scent that I can wear easily and that I enjoy, that I actually connect to, are just ones that are airy. They have this dispersed feeling, like if they were a tangible thing, you'd still be able to see through the scent. Not to say that they're too simple. They still have a very beautiful, interesting, layered character, which is really important, I think, in fragrance. But they're airy, they can breathe, you can see through them. God, the neighbours are so noisy. I have room to breathe and, you know, move around. The next fragrance here is probably the heaviest out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, but I absolutely cannot get enough of this scent. I think I'm going to be featuring this scent in most of my videos. If they're videos of my favourites, videos of my top 10, videos of my most worn, this is going to be one that it's going to keep coming up because I absolutely adore it. From the house of Redolescent, it is Alice. I just love this fragrance so much. It's so different, it's so unusual. It's quirky, but it still feels like something I can connect with. I still feel like myself in it. I see so many different ways of talking about it, and they're always different each time, and I can never pick out a note. They're just all these weird feelings, and that's Alice. Like today, I'm going to talk about it differently to have done before. Like I think I said before about it being a tuberose sugar cookie. I don't get that so much anymore. I was recently talking to Claire from Smurfygurly, like she sampled this, and she made me see it slightly differently, but not in a bad way. She really gets a lot of the smokiness, a lot of this kind of, I think she said cade oil, which is a really smoky, heavy kind of a, I think it's a resin, isn't it? And I do think this is smoky, but I think it was more pungent for her. But it made me sort of stand back from it and think what that smokiness is, because I tend to sort of smell it through the smokiness and pick out the prettier parts. But I realised actually at the forefront of this, when I first spray it, and even smelling it from the cap, but you know, I actually get, you know, the smell of matches. I love the smell of matches, and when you pull a Christmas cracker, and I always have to stick my nose into it because I love that scent. And I realised that's kind of what this is at the beginning. It's that Christmas cracker lit match. I guess it's a bit like gunpowder, but not really, because it's not heavy. But there is a sweetness mingling with that struck match sort of scent. But there's still a soft prettiness in there. I love that it features this accord of forget-me-not. That's such a quirky and pretty flower to feature. And I'm sure it influences me when I smell it, and I think I'm smelling like this pretty pastel bluey grey shade. But I think obviously I'm getting the smokiness, which is influencing the more grey, smoky shade of blue. It's got a thickness to it, but it's not heavy. It's got a beautiful substance to it. It's so whimsical and quirky. I absolutely adore this scent. I just can't get enough of it. I do crave it. I crave it a lot. It's going to be appropriate all year round, and I'll just keep talking about it because I love it. So Alice from Redolescent. So another scent I've been wearing very easily. I pull for it easily, and it is another dumb reach, I guess, for me. Is Green Butterfly from Byron. Even though I never think about a green butterfly when I wear this, I just don't get that image when I'm wearing it. I still absolutely adore the branding on this. I think it was very clever branding. Absolutely beautiful green bottle with that adorable little butterfly that's on the back there. I think it's a stunning story or concept, or just branding. It's very, very pretty. And I love the scent because all the notes come together so smoothly. They all blend and meld together. There's nothing that stands out, nothing that's disagreeable, nothing that's sharp. It's an iris scent, it's an aldehydic scent. It has white, I think it has white chocolate or just chocolate in there. It's got a sort of soft, clean, classy feeling. A lot of people describe this as woody or soapy. I just don't get that at all. I mean, it's clean. It has a clean surface, but it's not sort of soapy exactly. I don't really get much woodiness. I do get a lot of the iris. I get a lot of, I think the iris and the chocolate, if it was white chocolate, that iris and white chocolate are like one. They just have such a beautiful unity about them. So it makes the iris sweeter and more creamy. And then the iris just brings that slight powdery element, a slightly vintaged element with the aldehydes as well. Not vintage, but it's just that hint of it. I do like a scent that's dipping its toes into different categories, but still balanced, still you know, coming together and not feeling confused. This one's not confused. It's quite simple really, but it's so agreeable. It's feel like a very classy, very simple, soft, clean iris, creamy sweet iris. Beautiful. Only green element I think I can possibly, you know, really attach this to is when I first spray it, I get a slight pear feeling. I don't remember what there are fruits in here. They're not pear, but I get that feeling of a very fluffy, soft pear. Not sharp, not juicy. It's bright, but it's soft. So yeah, that's one that I've again been enjoying so much lately. So Green Butterfly, really beautiful. So this next fragrance, it did get a lot of dust last year. I don't know why, I just found myself not caring too much about it. But this year I'm thinking about it more, and I've wanted to get it out and start wearing it. And I forgot how lovely it is. It's so underrated. It's not been around, no, it's been around for a long time. It does have a fan base, I think. Those that know of it tend to love it. So this is by the company Lavin, and this is Eclat de Aparge. Still one of my most favourite bottles in my collection. It's just like this beautiful little potion bottle, the most pretty juice. Lovely globe bottle. I love the little features here. It's got a little gem on top there. It's unusual really. Love it. It's so whimsical. It's a very simple, fresh, cold floral. It's got white tea, wisteria, lilac. I'm blank on those. It gets compared to light blue from Dolce & Gabbana. Now I don't particularly like light blue. That's a lemon. That's lemon fresh all the way. This one, I guess it has a similar. It does have a similar character, but just not lemon. This was fresh from the tea. The white tea gives it a sort of refreshing direction, but this is more about the florals. This is the purple florals. It's cold, it's refreshing, it's pretty, and I'll tell you what, wisteria is such a beautifully scented flower. It's so underused in perfumery. My mum's got a beautiful wisteria plant in her garden, and when it's in full bloom, oh my god, the scent is amazing. It's so clean and pretty and soft at the same time. And you do get that in here. It's not just wisteria, but you definitely get a bit of that wisteria in here. The lilac isn't as forward, I would say, but it definitely is that freshness. It's slightly salty as well. There's a slight aquatic edge to it. It's a nice all-rounder. It's a beautiful country garden flower scent that's both cold and refreshing and slightly aquatic, but there is a softness in there as well. It's a really easy scent, really beautiful, and it's so affordable. Beautiful spring summer scent, this one. So that is Eclat de Aparge from Lavin. So that's all the perfume bottles I'm going to feature, but I did want to end the video talking about some really fantastic special samples I got from Claire from Smurfygurly, because there's two of these samples I'm absolutely obsessed with, and they're kind of all I want to smell at the moment. But I wanted to feature them because they are amazing. Claire's been recently talking about the house of Ikiryo. Ikiryo is a kind of crazy, eccentric, very theatrical, slightly Victorian influenced, branded, marketed concept of perfumery from a guy called Vincent. Now, Claire actually did a live yesterday with Vincent. Really interesting getting to know more about the fragrances and the stories behind them, and seeing who this, this cool artistic character was going to be like. And it was a really, really lovely interview. Head over to Claire's channel and definitely check that out. Claire very kindly sent me some samples from IKurio, so it was kind of a sniff along as well. So IKurio is a brand that's across the pond, so it's from the US. So I think it's more known to people in the States, and it's obviously more obtainable, although they do ship to the UK. Sarah Mays from the channel Sarah Mays, she's a massive fan of IKurio. And Maddie here in the UK, I think she's on Instagram, but I know she's a fan of the brand as well. Yeah, I've been really curious to try the fragrances, and I've got 5 here, which are all really, really cool, really interesting scents, but there are 2 that I've fallen in love with. They're the ones I want to focus on because I will have a better job describing them, because I've obviously worn them and experienced them and just had a great time with them. The ones that Claire sent me are Bees and Butterflies, so I've got that one, White Rabbit, and I've also got the one called, which I think is very popular, Beige Floor. There's that one. But the 2 I absolutely adore is Annwyn and Swan Maiden. Quick overview. Beige Floor is really, really pretty. Damn, what's in it? I believe there is passion flower. I think there's tuberose in here. I get a lot of tuberose in this, which isn't my favourite note. And it's a very, very pretty tropical flower fragrance that has a slight humidity, a slight muskiness, but I don't get past that tuberose. I think there's tuberose. It is really pretty. It is really lovely. It's just out of all of them, it's just not my favourite. And then we have Bees and Butterflies. I don't know what it is about Bees and Butterflies. It won't focus for a start, but there's a massive standoff between me and it. Chemistry clash or something. The way this gets described is nothing like how I smell it at all. So it's obviously me. However, it's a very strong animalic honey for me. There's a real musky, fluffy nature to it. And there is a fluffy daintiness as well. Let's just say that my skin dials up the animalic side, and it's just not for me. White Rabbit is the one I was most anticipating, most excited about. I love Alice in Wonderland. I also love rabbits, and it's nothing like I thought it was going to be. In a very small nutshell, it's a psychedelic bubblegum. It's really cool. It is really fun. Like a kaleidoscope of bright fruits, bright candy, bubblegum style, foamy gum. It's got a slightly dirtiness to it. It's actually really smart. I'm getting more fruits today. It's really weird. Oh God, I know what I'm getting. That's so bizarre. I'm picking up on this rhubarb and custard today, which I haven't smelled before. And Claire's mentioned this rhubarb nuance she gets from this, and I've never picked up on that until now. How bizarre. Yeah, it's still bubblegummy, but it's actually really fun. That is really, really cool. It's not my favourite, but it is a really cool scent. Annwyn was the one I smelled and fell in love with first. I've had this horrible respiratory tract infection since coming back from Scotland. I don't know what it is, it's just will not go. I'm getting cravings for things that are soft and sweet and easy to eat. And I've been eating a lot of Tunnocks snowballs. Snowball is a really simple, soft, like a marshmallow fluff scented ball with a light coating of milk chocolate and it's decimated coconut all over it. It's really lovely and it feels nice when you swallow it. I've eaten probably too many of them. Anyway, so smelling Annwyn was just so bizarre and such a coincidence really, because that's what it smells like to me. It's like a soft perfumey version of eating a Tunnocks snowball. The notes that were the passion flower, the passion fruit, white chocolate, there is something else, I can't remember what it was now. They're the notes that you've got a kind of a tropical, very pretty tropical scent here. And the passion flower, passion fruit, I'm not familiar with. You get this drier, tropical, decimated coconutty nuance. Just a sprinkling of it over the more tropical, fruity kind of side. Just something so pretty and fluffy and delicate and unusual. There's such an unusual feeling behind Annwyn. Fluffy muskiness in here, but you get more in the dry down, which makes me think of ballet shoes. I don't know. Like a ballerina dancing on stage and then you've got the dust suddenly, she hits the stage and there's dust that comes up, but it's delicate and almost, I don't know, there's a lotiony smell. I don't know, it's just pretty. It's really interesting. So that's Annwyn for me. That's beautiful. I forgot what Annwyn means. Vincent did explain the names actually on Claire's live, so I'll have to watch that back. Move on to Swan Maiden. His idea of a beautiful wedding fragrance. So that was his feeling behind it. But the inspiration behind the scent, I believe, if I remember him from the live last night, he said about getting close to a swan and seeing all the beauty, all that white, pure beauty, but still having that animalic, very subtle animalic side, having that kind of contrast. Swan Maiden's got a load of really interesting notes which actually come together in such a unique way. So there is, I think, Forget Me Not Accord, we've got white chocolate, there's lotus in here, I think there's ambergris, there's also, is it civet that's given the animalic note? I can't remember. There are elements that make me think of rice steam, humidity, riciness, rice steam. It gives it a kind of that sort of grey humidity in the air. I also feel like I see this this bubbling pool of mother of pearl liquid. You've got this like bubbling, and each bubble that pops gives you a different shade, gives you another shade of mother of pearl. I think the lotus is giving us slightly that humid white floral feel. I think that's where that's coming from. And now that I've worn this so many times, I am more aware of the animalic quality in the beginning, because I just don't think I was paying attention to that. I was just focusing on this beautiful, murky, humid, mother of pearl pool. But now I get the animalic side of this. If you want to get to this magical rainbow, like pearlized liquid pool, you have to crawl through the dirt to get there, you know, a little bit. You've got to work for it a bit. And the whole experience makes it what it is. It's so unusual. It's so unusual, slightly otherworldly. Definitely repurchasing both of these bottles. The bottles are gorgeous, very quirky. Vincent seems like an incredibly creative person. I think he does a lot of photography, and he has this sort of dark, this sort of gothic Victorian meets theatrical stage, Venetian mask, that kind. It's like a whole load of imagery under his umbrella. It's just a really cool vibe, and every now and again he'll do a buy one get one free offer on his bottles, which is very generous, so I'm gonna take advantage of that. I think the next one is at the end of October. So these are the two that I'll be adding to my collection, and actually the appreciation and the love for this has spread to my workplace, because the girl I work with took these samples in yesterday and she's fallen in love with White Rabbit and a beige floor, so she's looking forward to getting those two as well. Anyway, that is all from me for today. Just wanted to share the fragrances I've been loving and just to touch base with a bit of content really. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you on my next one. Over and out.